Hey cousin, who you chillin' with?
I'm chillin' with Monie.
I think it's time to watch the party die.
Exactly 1 year ago today, September 11th, 2024, while most people were wrapping up their workday and settling in to watch MTV's Video Music Awards, Kendrick Lamar dropped a surprise on Instagram. Now, Kendrick isn't the type to post often. He rarely touches social media, so this immediately caught everyone off guard. The post? A single photo of dirty, beat-up black Air Force Ones paired with an untitled track. Fans and critics quickly gave the song a name, Watch the Party Die. And from the very first listen, it was clear Kendrick wasn't aiming for charts or clout. He was making a statement. At the time, everybody was still caught up and Not Like Us dominating culture. But Kendrick came back with something colder, darker, and more prophetic. In that song, he basically said, it's time to end the circus, kill the ego, and expose the fakery running through hip hop, entertainment, and politics. And cousins, looking back over the past year, it feels like he wasn't just rapping. He was predicting a collapse in real time. The party was really on its way to dying. Only 5 days later, September 16th, 2024, Sean Diddy Combs was arrested on federal charges. A man once known as the ultimate hip-hop mogul, suddenly in cuffs facing sex trafficking and racketeering. From there, it was lawsuits, wild freak-off stories, and a trial that made headlines worldwide. The glossy image of Bad Boy Records and the shiny suit era gone. And at this time, Diddy is still sitting in a jail cell, awaiting sentencing for his crimes against Cassie Ventura, with other allegations still pending, including one from a woman who said he assaulted her in a Las Vegas hotel room. The mogul who once ruled the party is now its darkest cautionary tale. Then came Drake's war with his own label. At first, he filed a petition against Universal Music Group, and by early 2025, it had turned into a full-blown lawsuit. He accused UMG of artificially inflating Kendrick's Not Like Us with bots, over-promotion, and industry favoritism. He also alleged defamation. But here's the real backdrop. Drake is in a contract year with UMG, and that's likely the sole reason this lawsuit exists in the first place. Drake believes UMG doesn't want to pay him what he thinks he's worth, while UMG believes outside of his legendary back catalog, he likely isn't really worth anything else anymore. Their investment is tied to his prior discography, the masters, the catalog, the streaming rights they own. From UMG's perspective, there's no reason to suppress or defame Drake. They're in the business of making money off of him. But Drake sees it differently, framing it as an attack on his legacy and relevance. The irony, though, Drake once mocked Kendrick for rapping like he's trying to get the slaves free. Yet now he's UMG's most lucrative slave, fighting to prove his value. 2 days before the release of Watch the Party Die came the Super Bowl announcement. Kendrick Lamar headlining, a West Coast victory lap on the biggest stage in America. But the fallout, days, weeks, and months later, Young Money crumbled in real time. Nicki Minaj took to her Twitter to accuse Jay-Z of punishing Lil Wayne, a New Orleans native, because of his alleged personal issues with her and Drake. Lil Wayne himself claimed on several occasions that the Super Bowl was taken from him, despite it never being offered. In his mind, being from New Orleans meant he should have automatically been chosen since the game was being held there. Meanwhile, Drake didn't directly speak on Wayne not getting the slot, but he made sure his mouthpieces like Epidemic and Monie ran with the narrative that he'd been offered the Super Bowl in the past and turned them down, a way to downplay Kendrick being chosen. The truth? Kendrick wasn't just chosen. He made history, becoming the first solo rapper to ever headline the Super Bowl, breaking the national TV viewership rating and winning an Emmy, with another one pending to announce this Saturday, September 14th. And watching it happen shattered the image of Young Money as a unified dynasty. By the end of 2024 into 2025, it became clear Young Money were self-absorbed, entitled losers who couldn't handle not being the face of hip-hop anymore. Watching Kendrick's success, his silence, and his refusal to engage in antics drove them crazy. His lack of interaction exposed how insecure other artists really were. Then there was J. Cole. He released Poor Antonio, and it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, especially Kendrick fans. And here's why. This is the same Cole who once got on stage to apologize for lying on Kendrick in 7 Minute Drill, claiming the diss didn't sit right with his spirit. He bowed out of the wars, yet now he was rapping about how if he stayed in the battle, blood would have spilled and brothers would have been lost. On top of that, he came off like he was giving Drake pep talks while dismissing Kendrick's success. Fans called him out for being inconsistent, tough talking on wax about what he'd do if rappers tested him, but then hiding behind a peacemaker act when it really mattered. And then we have Kanye West, who always wanted to be in the mix. He even jumped on the Like That remix and said, "Hey yo, Dot, I got you." Like Kendrick needed his help. When Kendrick ignored him, Kanye turned bitter. He flipped from supporting Kendrick to dissing him, claiming Kendrick was a puppet being used to go at Drake and that he wasn't worthy of the Super Bowl or 5 Grammys in one night. Kendrick's accomplishments clearly threatened him, and he struggled to hide the jealousy. From there, he spiraled hard. He leaned into extremist rants on social media, and in one academic's interview, he even wore an all-black Ku Klux Klan outfit. That was the moment even longtime supporters began walking away. Kendrick warned us about the circus clowns, and Kanye went and built his own tent. Now, in Watch the Party Die, Kendrick warned us about how politics and culture alike collapse when profit and corruption outweigh real value. A clear example came in June 2025 when legendary producer Timbaland partnered with AI platform Suno to launch an AI-driven music venture. To many, including respected engineer and producer Young Guru, the move felt predatory. Suno was essentially using Timbaland as the friendly face of the rollout, banking on his reputation as a beloved, innovative producer so that artists would trust the technology. But behind the branding were questionable practices. On June 20th, producer K Fresh and his attorney accused Timbaland of uploading one of his beats into Suno without permission. By June 21st, Timbaland had issued a public apology, calling it an oversight. For someone once celebrated as a culture shaper, this partnership looked less like innovation and more like deception. Instead of uplifting the next wave of artists, Timbaland risked ruining his legacy for quick monetary gain under the guise of being ahead of the curve. And remember, Kendrick had already made his stance on AI crystal clear a year earlier on Beyonce's America Has a Problem remix. When he rapped, even AI got to practice cloning Kendrick. That paired with Watch the Party Die sharpens the warning. When industry leaders promote shortcuts that exploit creators instead of bettering the culture, is proof the party must die, because the system is no longer built to protect the art. And in Atlanta, the YSL saga got messier. Gunna's plea deal had already split fans, but then Young Thug's leaked jail calls surfaced, showing him making deals and dropping names. The same man who once shamed others for snitching found himself caught in his own contradictions. Suddenly, Atlanta wasn't debating music anymore. It was debating who broke the code. The streets' last big party ended in hypocrisy. And here's the deeper connection. Kendrick had already foreshadowed this in Not Like Us. On the third verse, he specifically called out Atlanta, tying the city's rap culture into the larger web of fakery and dysfunction. A Young Thug was on record speaking negatively about Kendrick for refusing to give him a feature. That tension made these leaked calls hit harder. It's almost like Kendrick knew Atlanta's rap scene, with all of its politics, contradictions, and fragile alliances, would eventually expose itself. And to make matters worse, Thug's most recent leaked jail calls painted a bigger picture. The transactional, fake nature of these so-called industry relationships. In the audio, you can hear just how conditional these relationships really are. Who's useful, who's disposable, and who gets left behind when the money dries up. It exposed the truth Kendrick was talking about. Most of these connections aren't rooted in loyalty or love, they are rooted in business. And when business goes bad, the mask comes off. The industry thrives on fake ties, fake brotherhoods, and performative alliances. But Kendrick already told us the entire structure needed to be dismantled because in reality, they don't care for one another. And here's where people miss the deeper layer of Watch the Party Die. So many listeners focus only on the hip hop angle, the shots at the industry, the cultural circus, but they ignore how political the song really is. Kendrick dropped it on the anniversary of 9/11, a date forever tied to America's political choices, its wars, and the manipulation of fear. That wasn't random. Fast forward a year later, and on the eve of this anniversary, right-wing political media figure Charlie Kirk lost his life to gun violence. And I'm not insensitive to his death, I just don't care. Charlie Kirk was no activist or political martyr. He was a rage-baiting racist agent of chaos who pushed hate and political violence. He valued guns over human life, and his Guns Good Prove Me Wrong tour was proof. Political opinions like his are dangerous to society and should never be pushed in the party. And it's striking to point out the timing of his demise. Kirk was proven wrong on the very first stop of that tour. His last recorded words, quote, counting or not counting gang violence, unquote, when asked how many mass shooters America's had in the last decade. Hours later, he became a victim of the same violence he brushed off or tried to solely center as the fault of Black and brown people. Kendrick wasn't just talking about dismantling fake labels and clowns in hip hop. He was calling out the entire political party system, the denial, the hypocrisy, the blindness to reality. A year later, his words echo louder than ever. So here we are, 1 year since Kendrick told us to watch the party die. Looking back, the song wasn't just commentary, it was prophecy. The moguls fell, the labels fractured, the artists exposed themselves, and even politics mirrored the collapse. Kendrick warned us, when ego outweighs accountability, when money outweighs morality, and when performance outweighs truth, the structure can't survive. And over the past year, hip hop, entertainment, and politics all proved him right. The party didn't just die, it rotted in front of us. And the question Kendrick leaves us with is this: when the circus tent finally comes down, are we ready to build something real in its place?
Hey cousin, who you chillin' with?
I'm chilling with Monie.